All right. Aloha. And welcome to my channel. All good things and all good time. Where it's all good. Where it's always a great day to be alive. I hope this is just about right. Okay. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. Life is really getting better and better all the time. Hopefully for everybody, but also for me. After, you lose a lot of stuff when your house burns down. Whoo, it takes a little while to start to feel good and stuff. And I think I'm getting there. And I lost my mama, and that was, not easy, but the good attitude is prevailing. That's what life's all about. It's the only thing I have any control over is my attitude. Might as well have a good one, right? Shit. Cheers to you. I'm drinking a little kombucha, by the way. This is June Shine. Trying a new strawberry kiwi crush. The most responsible way to do something irresponsible is to drink alcohol in the form of hard kombucha, getting your gut bacteria together while you're catching a buzz. I like it because it's about the same strength as a beer, so it's easy to figure out that math. It's the same. It's beer math when you're drinking these things. Try not to make mouth sounds. Boy, someone pointed out I did that a while back, and I didn't like it very much, but then I realized he was right, and I felt bad. Okay, so water quality test. Oh, by the way, the VOG, I explained how we get these south winds, and they bring the sulfur dioxide from the volcano, and it's been going on now for more than a week, and it's brutal. I have just been a sneezy person for a week. And everyone else too, and you might feel it in your eyes or your nose, your lungs. Anyway, it's about to change though. I do believe we're gonna get some wind from the north, thank God. But right now it's just out there and it's still just howling this way. And if you look out at Lanai or Molokai, there's a haze in the air. You can't see them clearly like you can sometimes, which means there's volcanic smog in the air. The whole island's been a little under the weather. If you watched the video, or if you didn't, I went up to one of those 7 times filtered water filtration stations, and then got a cup full of water, brought it back here and tested it. Provided their source is the same as mine in my hotel room here, which is 508 parts per million, last I checked. If that's what it starts out as, well, it came out at 400 parts per million. So they're getting a fifth of the undissolved solids out, filtering it 7 times. Interesting. Meanwhile, the water fountain downstairs is 508 parts per million. It's exact the same as the tap water. But everyone has a false sense of security with it because it says it's filtered. It says, it's got those dots. Oh, I've changed the filter then. This is how many water bottles you're saving. Anyway, I don't trust those things. I tested one just like it in Colorado at a rest stop, and same thing. It's just same as tap water. So. Which is why I'm always happy when I'm traveling with a zero water, because it filters everything out. So I've been getting and then right next to downstairs, all over there's the ice machines, but right next to the supposedly filtered water fountain is an ice machine, and that ice machine is 8 parts per million. Tap water is 508 parts per million. The ice machine is 8 parts per million. It's good water. So I'm constantly getting buckets of ice, melting it, running them through the zero water. If I have bottled water, I run that through the zero water. Why? Because microplastics, right? Even if the water's got, relatively clean, if it's in a plastic bottle, it has plastic in it. So another great reason to use your zero water to filter out the plastic particles. Nice thing is when you're using water that's not dirty, like 508 parts per million, right? By using the stuff that's only 8 parts per million from the ice machine, it barely degrades the quality of the filter. Whereas if you've got dirty water, you'll only get 8 gallons of clean water out of a zero water before it's contaminated to the point where it starts to lose its effectiveness. So that's the interesting thing about the water. I just keep learning stuff, even though it's not a really fancy test. It's just a parts per million test, and it comes free when you spend $29 on a zero water at Walmart. It sure is revealing and interesting. And everyone loves a good glass of water that you can drink like confidently, knowing that it's not going to do you any harm, right? How many people, might have an illness that has come from their water and not know it? I just wonder. All right. Oh, you know what? Check this out. I don't know if you can see this. That's my Uncle Richard C. Hamilton, Richard Carroll, K-R-R-O-L-L, Carroll, is my mom's maiden name. And Amos Carroll, my great-grandpa, lived up in Malta, Montana. He was murdered. Apparently the guy running the cemetery knows the story. The guy who murdered him over land dispute was put in jail. And then when my great-grandmother remarried a nice man who was the jeweler in town, the judge decided now she's whole. So he let the murderer out. The guy who killed my great-grandpa in Malta, Montana. I will be making a pilgrimage there and bringing my camera to visit my great-grandpa's grave right up there on the Canada border. All right. But Richard C. Hamilton, Dick. I got a lot of Dicks in my family. I had an Uncle Dick and a Grandpa Dick. I wouldn't necessarily name my kid Dick, but he was interesting for a lot of reasons. First of all, he was California Highway Patrolman, proud that he never took his gun out of his holster. Whew, that's a cool thing to be proud of. And then also he was a Freemason, right? And I saw a documentary about Freemasons the other day, and I think the highest degree they said was 33rd. Anyway, he is in the Scottish Rite, a level of the 33rd degree, which I think is the highest level in the Freemasons you could be. Anyway, he's a chess wizard, gourmet cook. Overall, pretty cool guy. He leaves behind a wonderful wife who was the exception to the rule, right? She was the one woman in America that bragged about coming home to her husband, right? Who did not work. And she was happy to be doing the work, and he's a damn good cook, and she enjoyed it. He retired from the California Highway Patrol and then lived the rest of his life supporting her career. She was a really successful businesswoman and Fireman's Fund insurance and whatnot. But then he did have a stroke, and she took care of him for several years. And so which is also inspiring, the way she took care of him for all those years. This aunt of mine takes cruises around the world like all year. It's really interesting. Anyway, she lives in Georgia. In case I go out to Georgia, pick up that Georgia accent. Oh God, I think someone thought it offensive that I was talking in accents. Well, get used to that. I like to talk in 10 different American accents. And if you've ever communicated with other people who aren't exactly like you, sometimes it's fun to speak in ways that make it easier to communicate. Like if I moved to Minnesota, I'd start saying, eh, I'd start being a Minnesota and say, eh, all the time. Yeah. But here, it's kind of interesting. Same time a Canadian, phonetically, like they go, yada, 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 eh, yada, 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 eh. In Hawaii, local people say, yada, 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 yeah. They say, yeah. At the same time as a Canadian would say, eh, a local person says, yeah. It's an affirmation, like within a sentence, Yeah? You know what I'm saying? Yeah? Okay. All right. So, that's kind of cool. Let's get down to the breaking news, if you want to call it that. I don't know if there is any really, but there is an ongoing pursuit. I watched a little bit of this guy's reporting from Maui Alerts on YouTube. He is just a good, straight journalist, if you're not afraid of journalists who seek the truth. If you've been told never to listen to journalists and you're dumb enough to believe a con artist that would tell you that so that they can then lie to you. Yeah, this is a straight journalist doing journalism. Gotta love these people. It's thankless work. And he is in pursuit of the truth, right? In a factual manner. And then also all the lawyers who are representing all the thousands of people who are now in a lawsuit to recover damages, suing for negligence from the electric company. It has been observed that through the negligence of the proper pole usage and maintenance by the telephone company and Spectrum, and then between pole 24 and 25 at 6:02 a.m., a power line went down hot and it electrified the ground, and there's evidence of that. And that's how the fire started. And then they left at some point thinking it was out and went off to other fires, and it smoldered and then came back. So that's basically what's going to go on. And then and so yeah, that between the I went and listened to Jan Oppo, an attorney from Lahaina, who is he's going to need to prove in court the negligence on the behalf of the people from Lahaina who are seeking to have some of their lives put back together, seek some damages. So that's interesting. I did get a new camera. Thank you for your contributions, everybody. I haven't sent thank you notes to everybody. I've been a little behind on that, and I appreciate you. I got a new camera thanks to you that I haven't used yet. I still have to download an app and figure out how to use it, but it's pretty fancy. It was $400 at Costco, so that means it's like worth $800, I think. But it's an underwater camera and all weather, and so I'm gonna take it into rough environments, I think, once I figure out the best practices for such. They found the 100th, or they identified the 100th person's remains from the fire. It was this woman, Lydia Kaloma. Canoe paddling. So I really want to paddle canoe this year, and I was assuming that all the clubs are going to just go for it, but maybe some clubs aren't. Maybe some clubs are going to try to make a season out of this season. I talked to an old novice B, a guy I paddled with my first year, 26 years ago. He's a bartender over here at the Westin. His wife is the treasurer in the Pili Canoe Club, and she said they're not sure, or they're going to do the kids or what. But then I ran into Wendell downtown, Wailuku Town. He owns Tri Paddle. If you need to buy a paddle or buy any surf paddle gear, he's right on the main street on Market Street. There's a really good coffee shop a couple doors down. So go check out the coffee shop, have a little snack, It's a pretty good little, it's just a really copacetic environment. And then check out Wendell's store. Try a paddle. Anyway, why do I say that? Because Wendell's such a good guy. So I told him I talked to Brett, and he said, they're not sure if they're going to have a season. And he said, I hope they are. He said, I just donated 30 kids paddles to him. That's how great Wendell is. He just donated 30 kids paddles. So yeah, go spend money there, because that guy, he does what is right. I tell you what, he's really good to the paddling community, and so great guy to support. Moku Roots closes. So sad. That was a pioneer restaurant, the only zero waste restaurant in the entire state. How many are there even in the country? Are there any other ones? Was that the only one? And it takes incredible commitment, right? No waste. That meant, they wrapped everything in a tea leaf to go, and on. Composted everything. Everything was sourced from local farms. So everything in that restaurant was pure. Yes, I love a good steak, and I also love a good vegan meal. Like they both have their place. That's balance, right? Excuse me. Hope you don't mind the sound. Whew, so I've been staying in my room. All of the refugees, or many of them, or us, are staying in our rooms a little too much. It's kind of too bad. But yeah, that Moku Roots place, right? They have these shirts. Eat more vagina, which deserves a little segue, a little side note. The word aina, okay, roughly, coarsely translated by someone who doesn't understand what they're talking about, they might think of that word as meaning land, okay? But it's much deeper. Hawaiians don't just look at land and objectify it as land, some sort of object. They see it as that which feeds, right? Something that they're connected to. It is land that provides. It is that which provides, that which feeds, that which nourishes us, right? And so we need to nourish and love the land, and it will give that back to us, right? But it's not just this thing. It is something that traditionally, locally, Hawaiians revere their land as that which feeds, like a mother to her children or something. I don't know. But so, vagina. Couple of ladies own this store, but I always wanted to do stand-up comedy there. Every once in a while they had some, and I just wanted to do this one joke that I could only do there. Because the truth is, like, that was the one place I would go consistently. It's the only place I would go and buy food for myself, because, you couldn't screw up there. Everything was healthy. So whatever you had, if you could find a way to like it, it was going to be good for you, or if you really did like it. And so I used to joke around, Moku Roots. Well, if I was there in the place, I could say, this is the closest, because it's the only place I would ever go, right? Moku Roots is like the closest thing I had to a girlfriend. If I was there, I could say, well, I come here 4 days a week, and I eat all the vagina I can, try to be a faithful boyfriend to my restaurant girlfriend. Yeah, anyway, if a restaurant could be your girlfriend, Moku Roots was mine. So I can't really tell that joke unless I'm at Moku Roots, and it'll never exist again. So thanks for letting me share that with you. It'll have to just live wherever that will live. Okay, what else? I don't know. I hope it's still recording. Andre Day is the most, Rise Up is the most inspirational song ever written. If you're looking for a little inspiration, or if something challenging happens in your life and you're looking for inspiration, 100-day rise up. And if you watch that video, oh my God, it'll give you the best cry. It'll make you cry. All right. And then also that Sudden Rush song, I Remember, is so good. I've been listening to it. Once I started listening to it like a couple weeks ago, I haven't stopped. I listen to that song like 5 times a day. I sing it all the time, even though I have a terrible singing voice. I'm just singing as if it sounds good to other people. Poor other people. But then also, so those are 2 songs that I just like mentioning. But then there's a new song, a Hawaiian song from BET, Big Every Time. Big Every Time. We got a new song. It's on YouTube called Celebration of Life. And you watch that video and that'll give you a good cry too. Just a sweet song. Whew. All right, let's see what else. Oh, I'm so excited about the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift going to the Super Bowl. Her future husband is so badass. That guy is gonna go down as the greatest tight end of all time. Greatest, biggest numbers, most yards, most catches, most touchdowns, most playoff wins, most touchdowns in the playoffs, most yards in the playoffs. He is a first-round Hall of Famer. Travis Kelce, just a tough guy. Kind of like to see Jason Kelce come out of retirement and play one more year as a center at Kansas City. That'd be pretty cool. But anyway, my Niners are there with him. Grew up in the Bay Area. Been here 26 years, but my first 28 years was in the Bay Area, pretty much. Marin, Sonoma, Lake Tahoe. I moved to Santa Barbara, went to school at UC Santa Barbara. I went from high school dropout to UC Santa Barbara student, and then I stopped going to school there because, I was just studying philosophy and acquiring debt. And so then I moved to Malibu, opened Duke's in Malibu in summer of '96. And then after living in Malibu for a year and a half, and I have a few stories from there. I tell you what, Malibu is no ordinary place. And then I decided, I saw the president of TS Restaurants, Billy Parsons, at the Christmas party. And I said, hey, Billy, if I move to Hawaii and apply at the Hula Grill, can I use you as a reference? And he said, yeah, Craig. In fact, why don't you get an application from here, fill it out, and fax it to my office, and I will fax it ahead for you. And so that's how I got my first job here. I started working my second day on Maui. I did not do the stupid thing these people do. They're moving out here to work and shit. Stupid is as stupid does. When you get here, you need to start working. You don't take a month or 2 and have a vacation first, because that's what you're entitled to. You just start working and find a place to live, and you get around to the other stuff. Anyway, that's my advice to you. My son got a job, and he's working, and it is such a good job. I don't even want to tell you how much money he makes. Oh, my God. But my son's going to be making, as a busboy, like maybe $40 an hour. I mean, it's awesome. Anyway, and he's working in literally, sorry for using that word, but this is literally the most beautiful place anyone could ever work, so long as they live on this planet. I mean, there might be some other places on Earth that are potentially as beautiful, but nothing more beautiful than where my son works. His view. And his first busser job was this, where we worked together. And it was a tough busser job. I tried to explain that to him when we first started working together, because I've bussed tables in 20 restaurants. And this is like a hard busser job. It was a huge restaurant. There was heavy busser tubs. All the servers were lazy. They just fill those things. and he'd sometimes be working by himself. He had to do dishes in the back. It was brutal, right? Busboys never have to do dishes. Now he's like, I can't believe I bring my dishes to the bar and they wash them. Anyway, and the restaurant he's working at is much smaller. And yeah, it is just a dream come true. And if he just focuses on not spending any money for 1 year, and if I pile in with it, we can build him up a brokerage account that's going to change his life. I mean, our life, because we're going to build him up financial, we're going to build him up a nice portfolio. Then he's going to get sick credit. He's going to have money on paper as a busboy, making 75 grand a year as a high school dropout. And God bless America. I tell you what, we're going to get my son all qualified. If you don't know what it takes to buy a house, you need a job for 2 years, money in the bank for your down payment, money in the bank for after that. Okay, so 2 kind of money in the bank, and credit scores, and that's it. So I don't have credit, and I don't necessarily ever need to care about that. Maybe I'll worry about it someday. Maybe I'll file bankruptcy. I don't really care. All that matters is I'm going to get my son to buy his first house, and then he can start thinking about going to school. And it's going to be awesome like that. Oh, he'll have over 100 grand in the bank. It's going to be beautiful if he can just keep showing up to work. So my hopes are up, and I'm invested. If he could just keep going to work, but he's bought in. He's listening to me, sort of. He's been trained not to listen to me by his mom, but he's starting to realize that if he could just push that aside and let me in, he'll only get the best advice ever. And I'll take care of my boy. But really, he's doing it on his own. Took forever to get finally hired, but this is great. And he's learning what it's like to work a 8-hour busser shift. They're 8-hour busser shifts. But shit, I mean, 230. The guy he worked with his first shift said it was a slow day. Only made $230 in 8 hours, plus $14 an hour. You do the math. You know, that was a $340 day for the guy. Yeah, busting tables. Man, so maybe I'll wait tables at that same restaurant. Maybe I'll manage there. But I just wonder, like, as a manager, would I make as much as my son, the busboy? I mean, my God, I doubt they'd pay me just a straight 40, 45 an hour. Anyway, that's beautiful stuff. So, and then where I used to work, which is 100 yards away, Peter Merriman and his Angela and Bill are opening Ulu, I think, a new restaurant that's going to be expensive and do breakfast. So I could try to get that gig back, the kick-ass breakfast gig. And they probably won't do lunch, which is good. Like, you love it when they close at 11 and then you go home at noon and you made $300 at breakfast. So maybe I'll try to do that. Bunch of my old coworkers, like, I don't know, probably 10 of my former coworkers are going back to their old jobs in the same place, just with different management, which is going to be better management. Peter and Bill and Angela they know what they're doing. A little bit more than the other guys. The other guys weren't bad, but I've been in this business so long, I can tell. I can see right through whether or not someone knows what they're doing in this business. I could be a consultant. I could be a chef. I've worked in 35 restaurants. I often have worked in 2 or 3 at a time, which makes numbers. Yeah. Like when I lived in Malibu, I worked 8 shifts a week. I worked a double on Sunday, and then, the other 6 nights of the week, right? I worked, which was at 3 different restaurants. So yeah, that's exciting. I am just super inspired about my son's job and the fact that he's sort of listening to me a little bit, just enough. But he's a work in progress. I'm still doing his laundry. So What else? What else? Oh, I got stories. I think I want to do an art project someday, which is not something that's in my wheelhouse, right? But like my great-grandfather and my grandfather, and their respective wives and cousins, they're all famous San Franciscans in their time, okay? And I think I might be able to sell this idea to like the San Francisco Museum of Art, but I can picture a room where I've got 100, maybe more, of my grandpa's home movies playing in a, in a loop, right? And then dispersed throughout blown up blow-ups of he left behind 30, 40, 50 photo albums. He was a photographer when no one was a photographer, but no one ever saw his work, and it was just for the fun of it. But he labeled everything, so every person's name is there, so like their families could see their relatives, right? So that would be cool, right? So you got the pictures and the moving pictures, and I imagine it like a circular room, in a museum, but it could be whatever. It could be a square. But then also, he left behind, he was a cartoonist. He was always trying to get into the New Yorker. He got into the New Yorker, I think, one time. But his whole collection of cartoons somehow, his whole body of work somehow ended up at the Bancroft Library at UC Berkeley. And I'd love to go view it, take pictures of it. Whoever thinks they have copyrights to it, I imagine I've got a pretty good claim as well, being his grandson. Anyway, imagine freaking the cartoon art from my grandfather, the photographs blown up, and then the moving pictures. I mean, what a great San Francisco Museum of Art display that would be. Anyway, it's just a vision I can see. And wouldn't it be cool to bring like a museum show around the country or something? Anyway, I dare to dream. Cheers to you. Did I tell you already? This is June Shine. Strawberry Kiwi Crush. 6%. It's like a beer. It's the most responsible way to do something irresponsible, because it's getting your gut bacteria same time as you're getting a buzz. But look at the ingredients. Strawberry, kiwi, green tea, kombucha. That's all that's in there. It reads like a health label. All right. I tried to do a video out on the beach, and then when I uploaded it, it just turned it upside down. So I went in, turned it upside down, and then it came in upside down again. No matter what I did, it came in upside down. So that was weird. Oh, okay. I got so many stories to tell. But long story short, my community is full of funny people. And I keep running into old friends, like people like this kid that won a ukulele contest when he was 12. Now he's 40. But, and he played, just a great guy. He's got a family. He's a refugee, lost everything. He's a musician who plays next door here. So I'm going to do an all good concert series video of him, try to get him to do a song that's not copyrighted so we can keep that from getting copyrighted. I'll put his Venmo up on his concert series, and then I'm hoping to interview him in one capacity or another, whether it's right after his gig or at the place he's staying up in the Peely How or wherever, however. So that would be really cool, because this guy's special. He's special. He actually played on a Grammy-winning Hawaiian album. So, great guy, Peter. And then Vernon, Timmy's brother. Timmy was my first canoe coach. And shoots, when I was working at Waikoko, I didn't know, but one of my managers was Tim's daughter, Bello. And that was cool, figuring that out. But his brother, Vernon, was in my Novice B crew also, with Brett, who I mentioned earlier. And he might let me interview him as well. some true blue, multi-generational local boys. But just good people, just really good people. I was walking by Vernon, he's like, Craig, is that you? Like, you know, because we're such old men. You're not sure if you can recognize each other anymore. But yeah, so we had a real nice conversation. Apparently he's living in here too. So that's cool. And hopefully I'll get out of this room more and make some content out there and get better at making good content. I get better devices for it. I do hope to get a drone and figure that out. This has a 360-degree camera, this new camera I have, so I will try making those kinds of videos as well. I'll try to do underwater content. I saw a guy, I think it's pretty interesting. He stuck a piece of salmon on the bottom of the ocean right over here at Black Rock and then filmed it. And that seemed like a pretty cool thing to do. But I don't know. There's just so many cool kinds of content that could be made and that would be fun to make. And but one of the things I'm really determined to do is get out there on that jet ski platform, because it's like a place I can just like hang out. I can put my board on it and then like have a picnic and film, and I'll be out there in, you know, pretty far offshore, so I could get some really good whale footage, you know, where while I'm not floating, while I'm on a freaking actual flat surface and I'm able to actually film well. And so that could be really cool. I swam today, I've been swimming, so the more swimming I do, the more I'm physically prepared for the paddle, but also to save myself if I gotta swim home, which could happen. Man, I got this friend Cameron, and he's just a freaking legend. He's a living local legend in the last 26 years. He is the first guy I sat behind when I got in an outrigger canoe. He was stroking in seat 1. He just had a state championship novice B season with Kahana Canoe Club. He was just a badass from the start. Great guy. Who still likes it when I finish first in the swim, because sometimes before canoe practices, you know, we swim out and back, and I've done a few over the last few years, and I'm still the first guy back. So Cameron, this is a good story about great people. Adam Sandler was here with all the guys, all his comedian buddies, David Spade and all those guys. They ate at the Hula Grill. I don't know what their bill was, but I think they left Cam Dog like $1,500. Like it was maybe $1,800. It was a gratuity that was hard to not be a little jealous about. Like, oh man, I want to get a gratuity like that. Anyway, God bless them. And it speaks to what I've mentioned before, and that is that the best tippers in the United States of America are our fucking awesome Jewish brothers. And isn't it just ignorant and stupid of assholes to say that they're bad tippers? I grew up hearing this joke, what's the difference between a Jew and a canoe? Canoe tips. Blah. Yeah, and it is not true. And that's what's just so stupid about that stupid joke. And the people that are saying those jokes, they're the shitty tippers. The fucking anti-Semitic dipshits, assholes, cheap motherfuckers that don't tip well. Don't know what it's like to be a fucking civilized, wonderful person who happens to be Jewish, who knows how to go out to dinner. And that's our brother Adam Sandler. He's the rule. So you should all hope to tip like good tipping Jewish people. It's just no fun when like David Pakman says, I hate tipping. I tip well, but I hate doing it. Dude, embrace it, love it. It's your chance to be generous in a given day, to commit a random act of kindness. Sure, you could give them 20%, but if you give them $2 more, feels really good. You know what I'm saying? All right. Oh, shoots. Whew. So, let's see. I hope I can upload this one. And I think my mind's starting to kick in, starting to work pretty well again. Not quite 100%, but got most of my marbles. Pop back in there, and future's looking bright. If you're thinking about doing harm or crime, don't. If you're thinking about committing an act of violence or threatening someone, don't. Stay home. Make our country a better place by not doing anything. If you're thinking about doing any of those terrible things, if you want to have a great life, don't snort shit, don't pop pills, don't gamble. So many stupid, evil advertisements, many of them targeting the African American community. At the same time as we're going after menthol cigarettes, have you seen these Prize Pig ads? The Black Genie? Holy shit. Anyway, don't gamble. Don't try. Have you seen this? It's like saying drink responsibly. There's no such thing. Gamble responsibly, responsible gambling. There's no such thing. It's all bad. And people often kill themselves because they gamble. So it's just another reason to not gamble, because you don't want to kill yourself. Don't associate with violent people, and avoid the wrong relationships, right? And that's all you got to do, man. By default, you will have a great life. If you can avoid, and don't drive drunk. Getting drunk's not a good idea, but driving drunk is definitely a bad idea. And that's it, man. You can have a great life. Anyway. Thanks for watching. And thanks for making the world a better place. And can't wait to hopefully provide some better content that is both aesthetically pleasing, informative, entertaining, stuff that'll make you laugh, possibly, hopefully, etc., etc. And that's pretty much it, I guess. I'll tell you what. Real quick, just a quick story to say thank you to the guy, so I can get this off my desk, because I've been needing to thank this guy publicly in case I never write a book. On my second trip across the United States, I flew into LaGuardia. I stayed at the Holiday Inn there, and then I got on the PATH train, went under to Newark, got on Highway 1, started riding down the road until I got to about Plainsboro, close to Princeton, and there was a Residence Inn. So I went into the Residence Inn, and I inquired to see if there was any sort of discounts maybe for someone like me who happens to be riding a bicycle across the United States for a good cause. I showed her my press release. I showed her my articles that showed me in the news. And she said, I got an employee rate I'll give you. So it was $36 for a room. And then the guy behind me, Art Mills. Could remember that one. Art Mills. He's probably, if I'm 55, he's probably 70 now, okay? And he's raised his family, probably has grandkids now. But Art Mills, thank you. Good guy, just a good man. Guy behind me says, I'll pay that. So they say, here's a discount for it, and then the guy behind me insists on paying for me. And then I had a room with a kitchen overnight. I mean, those Residence Inns are really cool. But that was just my first day on the road on my second trip across the United States. First thing that happened, a guy bought me a room that would have been only $36 because they were so nice in the first place. Anyway, I got a lot of good stories of people being really nice and doing nice things for each other. And in some cases, I can remember their names, and they deserve the shout out. So to you, Art Mills, and hopefully, I'm sure your family loves you because you're obviously a great guy. Hopefully you're still alive and this gets back to you. Maybe you're still in the greater Princeton, Plainsboro area of New Jersey, and so on. All right. Thanks for watching All Good Things in All Good Time. Have a great day. Love you guys. Aloha.